Hi, this is Dr. Heath, and I'm going to go over the practice test for Chapter 3 for college algebra. Number 1, use the equation and the corresponding graph for the quadratic function to find the x-intercepts. We could look closely at the graph to determine the x-intercepts, those points where the graph crosses through the x-axis. And those two x-intercepts are at the origin 0, 0, and at the point where x is 2, y is 0. So our choices are 0, 0, and 2, 0 for our x-intercepts. Another way of finding this without looking at the graph is to find x-intercepts by letting y equal 0. Or in this case, we're going to let the whole f of x equals 0 and solve the corresponding equation. That's going to look like x minus 1, quantity squared minus 1. I've set that whole function equal to 0. Now I'm going to add 1 to both sides of this equation, and that's going to give me x minus 1 squared equals 1. I want to solve for x by taking the square root of both sides to get x minus 1 equals plus or minus the square root of 1, which is just 1. So x minus 1 equals plus or minus 1, and if I add 1 to both sides, I get x equals 1 plus 1, which gives me 2, and negative 1 plus 1, which gives me 0. So those are your two x values at the x-intercepts. And we already set y equal to 0, so that corresponds to the same 2 points. For number 2, we use the equation in the corresponding graph for the quadratic function to find the coordinates of the vertex. Again, we could look at the graph to zoom in where the vertex of the graph is. That vertex for a parabola that opens up is at its lowest point. Using the scale on the graph, we could see that the x value is 5 and the y value is negative 3. So we can choose 5, negative 3 as our vertex. Another way of doing this without looking at the graph is by identifying the format of the graph of the quadratic function. It's in the form of x minus h squared plus k. So the fact that we have an x minus 5 shows that your original vertex has been shifted to the right 5 units. And the minus 3 means a vertex has been shifted down 3 units. So our vertex is 5, negative 3.